Have you ever felt stuck in your leadership role, wondering how you could spark transformation in not only in yourself but in your team or in your organization? What if I told you that the secret is not in some um, like lofty strategy or some like complex process, but rather in the power of your imagination? What if I told you that? Would that be interesting? Stick around and I'll show you how it works. Hi, my name is Clay Cutts. I'm a therapist turned business and leadership coach, and I'm also the founder of Square Peg Coaching. I help good leaders become great and great leaders become extraordinary. One of the things I run into with coaching clients, both individuals and in corporations, is that people see coaching as something they bring on a coach for when things are going badly, when there's something wrong, right? And that's true. So I'm very often brought in when there's a problem, and that's great, and I can be really helpful there. And every once in a while, I'll get brought on in a different situation. A certain company will say we're being successful and things are good, and we have this sense that they could be better, right? And often these are companies that have been around a while. They have a long track record of success. They figured something out in whatever their world is, and they got it going on, and they just do the same thing every day, and it works and it works and it works. And I love the idea of figuring something out and executing on it regularly, day after day, week after week. That's great. Like that's how you build like base hits win ball games. We don't have to get fancy all the time, but you know what? A home run every once in a while really accelerates uh, victory, right? And so when I work with these companies that have been around for a while and are having some success, but sense that there's something more, one of the things we talk about is one of the five N's, which is envision. And I also talk about this in terms of imagination, right? What can you envision for your team, for yourself, for your organization, for your department, whatever it is? What can you envision that is motivating and inspiring, right? One of the things that extraordinary leaders do is they have a vision that's bigger than their actual stuff that they do, right? If you make widgets, nobody cares. You might, right? People show up, you'll hire people and they'll do their job and they'll clock in and they'll make the widgets and they'll go home. And that's fine. I mean, you can build a generational business on that. But extraordinary businesses are created by extraordinary leaders. And one of the things extraordinary leaders do is create a vision that's bigger than just the widgets in this example, right? Who do you create the widgets for? Why do you create them? What difference do these widgets make in the world, right? And here's the thing. Very often, all those questions are very answerable. They're accessible. And the mistake that leaders make is they don't talk about it. They don't create a framework. They don't create a context. Context is really important. I work with a client that does is in an industrial space, and they make they buy and sell parts for generators, basically, right? Really unsexy business. And what we've been able to create within the context of that company through coaching is this idea that what they're actually doing is much bigger than just parts for generators, right? They're creating livelihoods for people. They're creating safety and security for the families that work there. They're creating like this reliable partnership for the hospitals and prisons and schools and government buildings and large places that they support, right? They're competing in a really difficult landscape. They're competing in a way that requires everybody's best effort, that requires everybody's best thinking, that requires everybody's highest level of creativity, right? They talk about their business in a totally different way, to the point where they're not even in the, parts business or whatever it is, right? Or the shoes business or the hamburgers business or the, making eyeglasses business or whatever it is, right? So the challenge to you as the leader is this. What can you envision for your team, for your organization, for your larger company, or your church, or your volunteer organization, or your family, or your, softball team, or whatever it is? Like, what can you envision? What's already there that you can pull out and talk about? What's larger than what you're doing? And if you can sort of pull that out and you can talk about it in a way that's compelling, that's exciting, that's inspiring, and you can start enrolling other people in that vision and what you've been able to imagine, what you've been able to envision, and you enroll them in it, and you help them understand why it's important. Just not necessarily selling them on it, but just bringing them on board. Then once they get behind it and they understand, and they can start carrying the bucket with you. Then another person. And when you have a team that all has a common vision, and they're moving towards a bigger goal, you're way more powerful than if you're doing all the heavy lifting yourself, right? That part's obvious, but these pieces are how you do that. So if you're aiming to create extraordinary outcomes, remember that the limit does not exist. It's just a fragment of your imagination. Embrace your imaginative power. Embrace your creativity. Embrace your storytelling. Right? When you're talking to your team and you're delivering the message of here's what we do, here's why we do it, here's why it's so important, you should say it so often that they almost roll their eyes when you say it. Right? And it's okay. You want them on board. You want it to be like woven into the fabric of what you do every day. That's how you create a compelling vision. I challenge you, go out there, take some risks, have a big vision, have a huge vision, enroll your people in that vision, enroll others in it. Become an extraordinary leader. The world needs you.